Okay, I think this is part 2. I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to make this about robotics, like deconstructing the human anatomy in the service of thinking about robotics. So yeah, I'm going to just jump in and try to make this one. I'm probably going to update this one every once in a while. I would say I'll draw a torso for now. It's kind of left-leaning. Quick overview rundown of anatomy, just the main parts. Well, you'll see. Well, in that case, it might indeed be possible that it would be great or good or halfway decent to think about this in a way that is related to balancing. If you I don't know if I should put this one. I'll have to keep track of the screen so that I don't put the camera in front of it. So if you look at this here, feet here, going like this. Human body is centered and has a center of mass. It's going to need to be balanced. I'm currently thinking how am I going to deconstruct this body in a way that is, you know, this is maybe just a good mock-up. I'll make sure that it's visible for a second here, like this. Maybe I might even make this one. Oh, and here we go again. Here we go again. The fill X S. Okay. Now it's all right. Now I can make this guy smaller. I'll put this in the corner here. Good. Amazing. Great. Fantastic. Then I can just zoom in like this. What I'd say is what you have to keep in mind, dependent. To give me a break here, guy. Okay, like this. You're gonna have a center, or like a kind of like a symmetrical center. This is like the body. You have the upper part of it, where the chest is located. The chest connects to the arm, as well as to the, what is it? It's not is it the deltoid? Yes, the deltoids connect, which enable your arm to go this here, the deltoids. Deltoid. This one is meant for your arm to go up and down. The chest is meant for pushing. So this chest is going to, yeah, make it. I can't, of course, I'm drawing in 2D here right now. I'll do a different view here, like this. Your chest is meant for, I would, how does Is it pushing? Yes, it is pushing. It should be pushing, I guess. I bet that it's likely to... I know your chest is, if you're pushing, so it is pushing, and pulling is your pulling is your back. You pull yourself up, your torso with your back, and you push your arms forward, because when you're bench pressing, that's what happens here. I am guessing there's like a ligament, or like a part of your pecs is then probably, this is probably going to contract here, your chest, and because it contracts, it pulls your arm, which is connected to this part, inwards, and because it's contracting inwards, it lifts it up, you know, because it lifts it toward it, of course. Or no, it doesn't maybe lift it up, but at least it pushes it away by way of pulling on the ligament that is connected to the front of your arm. So it like pulls it up like this. See? So up and away, up and away, like that, here. And then you have, and then of course if you contract it back in, it's like going to be your, which is why if you're on a bar and you're pulling yourself up this way, where you're gonna feel it, your back. And so then there's the neck, the other side of the other arm, like this, going like that, and up, doing this one here, and this one here, and this one. I might do this one here as well. Then there's of course the trapezoids, which is your back. That's not entirely your back, I guess. It's like the upper part of your back, the one of your total back. I forgot, I don't know the name exactly currently. I cannot mop with it. Not this. The latimus dorsi. Which is totally in your back, and then it goes to the obliques, your obliques here, your six pack, the abdominal muscles, your legs. The legs are here. They are of course structured in the same way as your arms, more or less. This part here is meant to contract, and it's going to pull the leg up, like up here. This guy is going to pull it up. You have the kneecaps, which make sure that you're not over bending your knee, and then this is the back side, and here of course all those parts of your bone structure that make sure that you can rotate up and down and in many directions. Yeah, and it basically how things push and pull that's dispersed throughout your body. And that's, you know, that does what it does. Pretty much in the same way wherever it is located. It brings everything up or down, pushes and pulls. It does all the I could start in all the Latin names. Usually it's not very, once you know them, you know, dorsi means back, frontal is front, I guess. It seems, I don't know if that's the Latin name, but at least you know what I am talking about. There's the hands. The hands again are the same way as the body, which is just, there's like tiny muscles here that contract towards a certain point, and then of course in what position they all are means different things and signals different things to dependent on context, and of course body language is also important. There's, you know, you have the bone structures, you know, the hip bones that are here located and that connect with the sockets, the bones here up like this and like this. Here kneecap to prevent from overextending, and then you go here, this one here, this one is like here, and that brings it, and there's like this part here. I think this is the thoraxis, and then your spinal column, which is, I believe, 12 columns or something. Your spinal, your spine, and then the chest here, which is kind of like a thigh with a bunch of cages. Again, I think 7 on each, or 12. I think it's 12. Is it 12? Yeah, but they aren't all connected. Not all of them are connected. There's like, I think 2 not connected here in the back on the lower side. Then there's, of course, when it comes to human anatomy, people are different. Some people have a different anatomy. Of course, they're not going to be that different, but you know, some people have more or less ribs, or some people have deformations in one way or another, and then of course they differ based on their genetic structures, but in general, you know, people are people, and that doesn't, you know, make people, you know, there's people who have like 6 nipples and stuff like that, like so you know what I mean. There's going to be people who have like 18 ribs on each side, and or only 3 or 4, or some, there's people with 6 toes or 7 toes, and you know there's always like going to be people who have a slightly different build. The back is here again, just the lateral part, the spine that everything is resting on. The rib cage is underneath all of this. There's the deltoids that are connected to your arms, and then the triceps, which is the back side of your arm for contracting your front, you know, your upper limb, your the upper part of your, this part of your arm. This part here contracts that towards below, so towards your back, and then your biceps contract your front, you know, your forearm upwards and into your body. This here again, the hips, the glutes are all connected here. There's usually something like here. I think this is a sort of ligament that then connects everything to the spine. Then there is usually here there is something here. The latissimus dorsi overlaps here on your rib cage, and then there's here other more minor muscles, not entirely minor, but like they cause like rotations and stuff for your arm. This is of course your traps. It's kind of keep your body up, I guess, or at least are this part they get your shoulders moving up and downwards. The legs, you know, they're always based on the same principle. One part is pulling and the other one is pushing, dependent on the physics of it. Where it is located, like this guy again, usually the things in the back pull towards the back and the things in the front pull towards or push away, I guess, because when you kick, did I say it here right? You know, when you kick with this here, this contracts and like, well, I guess that when I was talking here, this is, I think this is more. Currently, no, the ones that are here. There's these ones on the side that I guess are more about kicking. You know, the ones in the front are usually. And there's rotation. There's not much. Oh, there is. Yeah, I think the rotation happens with the side ones here. It's all like one big lump. I'll probably expand more on making myself clearer about the rotations of cuffs and stuff like that. Really digging in deeper, but this is so you'll have like a more overall view of what this all does. Like here is again the leg, the kneecap, there's none here, but this prevents it from, you know, this going this way and this one going that way, I believe. There's like a bunch of ligaments that are like attached to this one, and then there's like here this part of the foot becomes like this, and then you have this here, and then okay, you if you really want to know, you know, you can move your body around, unless you're of course disabled or something, which I am assuming you aren't. You might be though. This here again part is going to make the spinal cord, your spine resting on the thorax, which has like the bone here that's like your tailbone, but mainly this is going to be comprised of here of organs, and your abdominal, your obliques, your and then, you know, the pecs are going to be somewhere up there. Let me think. Do I want to, you know, it's comparative anatomy is always good. Like with like spidery creatures, they're going to basically have those same principles applied, or like any arachnoid or any other. Once you know a little about anatomy, all the other anatomy kind of is going to become a lot easier. I think there's like the main ones you have to know. Maybe any like 2-legged, 4-legged, and 6-legged. I would say even like 2 and 4, and you know it. because 6 is just adding 2 more to 4. But it's like just the same principle every time. Of course, it depends. Some animals, like if you have a dog, their frontal legs are going to be structured differently than their hind legs, because the main when they run, they are using their frontal legs a lot less, because they usually use the you know, they're just like humans. We use our back legs as the ones to sprint with, and other animals do that too, and their fronts are usually just when they're really pushing hard with their 2 legs, they are sprinting, and they push themselves and propel themselves forward by way of using those legs, and those other legs are usually they're having like upwards momentum. Maybe I should draw it. They're having some sort of upwards momentum, like they are using here their like hind leg. I'll draw it quickly and not extremely well, but this leg, oh wow, I'm drawing this not proportionally right. That was more like a minor dog. Okay, like this. I'm pressing too hard. You're not going to see it as well, because the screen, if you look at this like that's usually going to look something like this. I think I did like a portion too much. This looks too much like that. Okay, it has this, and when they're running, they are pushing the leggies. Yeah, like that, and then up like the arrow, and their frontal legs are still, they're usually going to still touch the ground, but you know what I mean, when they likely will be pushing themselves up off of the ground. You know, they might even do that in like some sort of gallop, like when you have horses, they're like moving in this way where they're like going like and then or whatever way they choose to go, which is why you have like those animals that are running and then their frontal legs fall, and then they can't stabilize themselves, and then they fall on their chest. I want to make this series more geared towards robotics, so of course in robotics this is going to maybe look a little different, because of how gears work, and what type of, I've seen a lot of varieties of how people try to construct robots. Some people do it with like some sort of concoction of like kind of how muscles actually work, or like pistons and other types of like mechanical things, cords, whatever. So that might create constraints on how you use it or what you're exactly going to try doing. But this is the main overview of it. Of course, the hat I had the hat in the last one. I'm probably going to, in the next one or one after that, talk more about the hat and what maybe the eye itself even, and how photons are falling into the iris. Of course, this is just camera visuals, but like it's good to know, I guess. And then of course I can further expand into brain structures and how those things work, how the brain perceives data, what the parts are used for what, and maybe, of course, it's going to be very different in some ways and some forms, but I guess like in other ways it's going to be pretty much the same, meaning, you know, I don't think you have to like it's not going to physically have to look like the exact, although, you know, you're going to have GPUs installed as a, but are you going to put them in the head, or are you just going to, because the robot doesn't need organs, it does need a battery, which is probably going to be placed here because a battery is pretty heavy, heavier than most things. I assume the heaviest thing in a cell phone is usually the battery, right? So you'll have to put that somewhere here as a center of mass, and then you could, you know, it doesn't really matter where you put it, but of course if you put here a GPU here, you can directly link it a lot more faster than here when it comes to you know, speed. Of course, a cable, what is going to be 1/1000th of a millisecond slower. That doesn't, but of course if you want to have like a GPU directly connected into the camera for whatever reason, that's of course going to mainly be located in the head, and you do have to have weight in a head, because otherwise we have, you know, otherwise everything is like here, and I think there might, I don't necessarily, of course you'll be able to find ways around it, but I think heads do have a balancing function, if I am not mistaken. Then the feet are just need to be flat. They need to have a rotating thingy here. Of course, again, if you're talking robots, you can, you know, change this with whatever it is. I've seen a lot of designs with like, and I like designing as well with like the amputee leg thingy here, like the blade that is like resting, and that is then part of the, that's really cool to look at, and that's awesome to have and do. It's cool to look at, it's an amazing thing. I don't know how handy that is though, that we have feet for a reason. And so I think for now I am going to leave this one here. Second part, third part is probably going to be more in-depth about other parts, and then I'll expand on that later.